What's going on, guys? Today I want to talk about how to speak effectively. If you watched yesterday's video, I was teaching on how to listen effectively. And as I had mentioned, communication, boiled down, is defined as sending and receiving of messages. Now, yesterday I was saying that listening is, in my opinion, the most important part and piece of communicating. Second piece of that is sending a message, and that's what I want to talk about today. Now, before we dive into how to have a hard conversation and how to speak effectively, most effectively, I want to address a couple things. First of all, one thing that the Bible teaches, that we are to guard our hearts above all else, for that is the wellspring of life. Now, how do you guard yourself and protect yourself? Well, sometimes, you're not going to want to hear this, but sometimes what you need to do and what I need to do is we need to put a fence up and fence ourselves off from certain people in our lives. Now, some of you Christians are saying, well, we're supposed to forgive everyone and love everyone. Yeah, you are. But you're supposed to, as my sister says, love with knowledge. You're not supposed to be in an abusive relationship. Let me just say that right now. If you're in an abusive relationship, emotionally, verbally, physically, like, you need to get out. There's no excuse. Like, don't use God and say, well, he wants me to forgive, or yo, he wants me to forgive, bro. Like, don't come at me with using God as a crutch so that you can stay in an unhealthy relationship and just suffer, because I'm not going to support you, first of all. You need to love yourself enough to put up a fence and get away from that person. Now, you may say that's harsh. Yeah, it is, but it's not more harsh than being abused. So I have zero tolerance for abuse, physically, emotionally, verbally. If you're being abused, you need to get away from that person. And if you stay in it, don't blame the Bible, don't blame this or that. Get out. And that's what you need to do. Now, another thing is that when it comes to putting up a fence between yourself and someone else, like I just said, sometimes you need a fence between you and someone else. You need to just get away from them, get them out of your life. You need to guard your heart and guard yourself from that particular person. Now, the opposite side is there are certain people in your life that you do not want a fence up. You don't need a fence up with your significant other. You don't need a fence up with a lot of people, family and friends in your life. And here's why a fence goes up. Because an offense happens. See what I'm saying? People get offended by someone that they care about. You know, they say something, hurts them. They take it personal and they're like, yo, yeah, I don't need you. You know, but some people in your life, you actually do need. Now, when it comes to family and friends and your spouse and your significant other, like, here's what's not going to happen. Once you get offended and an offense goes up, the thing's not just going to come down. Like, you're going to have to make a decision and choose to make it right. Because one thing we don't do a lot of and we need to do more of is trusting our gut, trust your instincts. A lot of people don't want to say that. They think that you're, teaching people to trust their emotions. Like, that's what emotional intelligence is, in my opinion, is trusting your gut and learning how to decipher, something just don't feel right. Now, here's where effective communication comes in. So as you are in your day-to-day life, like I said, you got to choose, and it's up to you who you leave a fence up between yourself and whoever. So you get to choose who you're going to allow yourself to get close to and be connected to. Now, when you are in a situation where like, I feel in my gut and I'm trusting my gut, I'm listening to my gut, something's off, man. Like, this person's mad at me, or this person, I know something's going on. So trust your gut enough to say, and this is where effective communication happens, just take your shot and say, hey, man, I feel like something's going on. Like, I feel like you're upset with me, or I feel like I've maybe done something that offended you. Can we talk about it? And here's what happens. And that's the whole premise of Guns Down, is going and having crucial conversations with people, not going in hot, but going in humbly and saying, hey, let's put our guns down. I want to make this right. Like I can tell there's a fence up, that somebody's got offended. I feel like there's distance between us. Like we're in the same room, but it feels like we're miles apart. And I want to fix that. And just trust your gut enough to speak on it. And here's a key that you got. Here's something, if you're going to write something down, write this down. When it comes to having a crucial conversation with anyone, this is what you need to write down. I can say almost anything to anyone if they feel safe. You can say pretty much anything that you need to say to anyone as long as they feel safe. Back to guns down. If you come in like this, like yo, you come in hot, you come in threatening, you come in aggressive, or you come to have this hard conversation in front of other people, they don't feel safe. So automatically they're putting their guns up too. Like they're putting their defense up. They don't feel safe. They feel threatened. Like emotional creatures, in order to have a tough conversation, first of all, you need to make sure that other person feels safe. What does that look like? Say, hey, look, can we have a conversation, just you and me? Can we go somewhere private and quiet? Like, let's just me and you. I want just me and you to go talk about something. That's the first step. Just acknowledge the fact that you feel like something's off and that you want to talk about it. Now, when the conversation starts, you're not going to want to do this. But step 2 is lead with an apology. You're not going to want to do it because you might not even know what you did, but say, look, man, first of all, appreciate you like being willing to come and talk about this. Look, we're friends, family. So we need to talk about it, but I want to lead by saying, I'm sorry. Like if I've done anything, I apologize. I sincerely apologize. And so what's going on? You know, and you just start the conversation, but you first made sure they felt safe. You removed yourself with that person to a place where it was just you two. You didn't do it in front of a bunch of people, and you didn't go in hot and mad. You just said, hey, calmly and humbly, look, I'm sorry if I've done anything, and I just feel like something's off, and I want to talk about it, right? So you start speaking that way. You start speaking from a place of a safe place, for one, and a place of apologetically, like apologizing first. Lead in with an I'm sorry, and say, hey, like I really want to make this right. And from there, you start chipping away at this fence. And it's amazing that an apology, man, look, goes a long way. And sometimes you offend people and you don't even realize it. But that's where when you get around them, you kind of trust your gut, that emotional intelligence, and you say, man, I feel like there's a fence, something's going on. And then you got to have the courage to trust it enough to speak on it. Say, hey, so-and-so. Could be anybody in your life. Relationships are everything. So these are the times you want to have courage in relationships to say, hey, yo, look, I feel like we got some tension. I feel like something's off. I feel like maybe I've offended you, but I just feel like something's off. Can we talk about it? Can we go somewhere and talk about it? And then when you get to that safe place, you say, look, first of all, like, I'm sorry if I've done anything, but I just feel like there's some tension. I feel like I've done something wrong possibly, and I'm sorry if I have. So what's going on? And last thing to remember, back to the video yesterday when it comes to listening, you can expect, especially if this is a hard conversation, they're going to get emotional and upset because all humans are emotional creatures. So just anticipate that they may get mad, they may get, they're offended. There's a fence between you. So just expect that it's going to be tough. But you've already went in humbly. You've already went in with your guns down, and you're going in with an apologetic approach and saying, hey, I care enough about you and I care enough about this relationship that I don't want a fence being between us. So let's take it down, okay? I am sorry if I've done anything, and I want to know what's going on. And if you go with that approach with crucial conversations, number one, you can say anything to anybody if they feel safe. So remove yourself and that other person to a private spot where it's just you and them. There's not all people around. Okay, that's one. Safe place. Second thing, go in apologetically. I want to lead in by saying, man, look, I care enough about us as friends and as family and as if it's a significant other, like this relationship, that I don't want there to be a fence between us. So if I've done anything, I'm sorry, but I just feel like something's off. I really want to talk about it. You go into that, look, you go in that way with anybody, and it's going to do wonders, right, in your relationships. Now, like I said earlier, not everyone, you don't need to have an open, close, connected, like best friend relationship with everybody. That's not healthy, because you need to guard yourself and your family and your relationship from a lot of people. So, but there's always times, and you know, where you've been offended and it's someone you care about. You don't want the relationship to go, to just go away, because you care about this person. When that happens, always remember, trust your gut, acknowledge the fact that something's off, go to a safe place, start with an apology, and start chipping away at that fence. And you do that, and you have healthy relationships in life, your life's going to be better, because at the end of the day, all the money and things in the world, we're not taking with us when we die. But the things that really matter are the people in your life and the relationships that you have. And look, you spend more than 5 days with anybody, they're going to piss you off and make you mad, and you're going to have some hard conversations. So let your pride down, let your ego down, safe space, apologies first, and work on it. Love you guys. Peace.